Hello and welcome to Pedantic Handwavium, the podcast that tries to explain fictional worlds using science. I'm Simon.
And I'm Jeff.
Have I always included the word tries in the intro?
I don't know if you've always included tries, but I was just giving someone our elevator pitch and sent them our website. And it's changed since then, because it used to be we apply science to fictional worlds, I think.
Oh, okay.
That's where we started.
And now we're like, listen, some of this is hard.
Yeah.
It's not always straightforward to be like, listen, science fits in here really well.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we have to invent whole new worlds. I'm sure that was a really good drinking noise.
Nothing has ever stopped us from doing that.
Nope. I'm just thinking back. We had some crazy ones in the beginning. Anyway. just reminiscing on the past 2.5 years.
Right. Okay,
so G-Dog.
Close. There you go.
Hey, yeah. I remember how to spell your name. So I was sitting in bed last night.
Right.
Thinking.
Like you do.
Like I do. Thinking about what I was going to do today for this recording.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to do Twilight. And I've been thinking about doing Twilight for the past couple of weeks. But there's not
and
that
then
much.
You realize that neither of us have read or watched Twilight.
That's not true. I've explained this several times in the podcast, Jeff.
I don't listen to it. I don't know. Do it again.
I have seen the first movie and I have read the first 2 books.
Oh, that's almost the whole thing.
Yeah, it was actually very strange. They were given to me in the same Christmas. I got a book series. I think that was called Dragonheart. That's really good and well done. And it was not. So, it's kind of hit or miss that Christmas. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but yeah, there's not that much meat on those bones. They sparkle, they smell people.
They smell people?
Yeah.
Is that a thing that they do traditionally?
You mean vampires or the vampires?
Twilight vampires.
Yeah. They that's how they identify people, is they smell them.
Okay.
And each person's
Can't they just look at them?
Well, they're like dogs.
Oh, that's a people.
That's a different person. But how could you tell identical twins apart?
You could ask them their name.
Mm.
But that seems rude if you do that every time.
Exactly. So you gotta smell them.
Right, that's how I usually do it.
Yeah, you gotta get a big old whiff.
Mm-hmm.
Really get your nose in there, and that's far less intrusive than asking their name.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anyway, so I was watching Blade last night, obviously, like you do.
Yeah, it was a Friday night.
It was a Friday night. Yeah, exactly. It was a Friday night, and I have no friend, and I was a little bit sad. So I was like, "What's the best thing to do? Watch Blade."
Watch Blade. Yeah.
And I was like, wow, there's a lot of different kinds of vampires. Because, just in movies alone, the difference between, underworld vampires and, Blade vampires, completely different. But they're...
Yeah, I feel like every mythos is completely different from every other mythos, except for, they do like blood.
Yeah, that's, the one thing where people are like, oh, they gotta drink blood. That's the thing. And sometimes not even that. I've seen succubi countless vampires, and they drink other things.
The White Court Dresden Files vampire.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, I didn't even think of that. I hadn't even remembered Dresden.
Yeah, no, Files. They're straight up succubus and incubus.
There you go.
White Court.
So
man, I gotta read Dresden Files again. That's a good series.
It is. It does get a little repetitive, but it is a good series.
Yeah,
I do enjoy the Dresden Files. It actually turned me on to them, and I was like, I'm digging this. Anyway, also Cowboy Bebop. This is just a sidebar thing. Cowboy Bebop is on Netflix right now, and I'm so psyched. My whole life now is just gonna be that. Because
do they get the anime before they start the live action, or
yeah, because they have the
live action ready somehow, and I missed it.
The live action, which I'm also really excited about. For the first time, I'm excited about a live action anime. Is November 16th, I believe.
Ooh.
Yeah. But I just really like John Cho, so and he's kind of a perfect Spike. Anyway.
Yeah. that classic vampire.
Classic vampire story. There are I think there's vampires in Cowboy Bebop.
Are there? I don't remember any.
I want to say maybe they're not. Maybe they're just people.
I remember people injecting drugs into their eyeballs.
Yeah, that's the first episode. That's
yeah,
Red
it was.
Yeah, that's like classic
That's
Cowboy
my
Bebop.
go-to joke for how to take drugs now.
Yeah, and like it's such a strange way to start your show. Be like, this is going to be a series of vignettes. Let's start with the weirdest one, where like people are just kind of going insane, and there's a pregnant woman who dies.
Mm-hmm. Good, lighthearted start to the story.
Good, lighthearted start. Anyway, so vampires. That's what we're doing today.
Right.
I don't think I need to explain vampires, but I will. They're people who drink blood in some kind of subsistent way.
Right.
That's what we're defining them as. I understand I just mentioned that succubi are technically vampires, but do not drink blood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they drink blood.
I don't think so.
As far as I know, they kind of just like
they get their sustenance through other means.
Yeah, and a lot of it is more like ethereal too. Like I think in like the Witcher series, succubi just kind of need someone to be around them.
Yeah, harder to explain and less likely to be safe for work.
Very true. It's actually impressive we went through the entire Witcher episode without anyway.
Yeah, well, we also talked about the book The Time Machine without talking about time travel.
That's true. Cool. So let's where do you think we should get started? What's like the vampires you know of that you're like comfortable with, and you're like, these are my vampires.
My vampires?
Yeah.
Probably World of Darkness vampires or the classic Bram Stoker vampire.
Bram Stoker.
The Dracula.
Dracula?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, and from there probably like the Vlad the Impaler mythos. Yeah, because like what I know vampires from is really like D&D, and then
then Twilight.
And then Twilight, yeah. Which is sad, but I really do not. I guess Underworld too. I guess I have watched all the Underworld films.
Oh,
and I've watched
Underworld
Blade.
exists.
Yeah.
I've forgotten everything about Underworld and most things about Blade.
Well, that's fair. There's not a lot that actually happens.
You're right
films.
to forget.
Yeah.
It's probably more of a repressed memory than anything else.
It's probably not. It's not bad. It's not a repressed memory. It's just it's like this is information that is totally useless. So I'm just gonna throw it out.
Yeah.
Like how I don't remember literally any parts to I Am Legend except for like the movie I Am Legend. Except for the part where they drop the grenade and everyone dies. Like that's it. And the dog dies at one point in time.
I don't remember what happens to the dog. I just remember that whatever happens to the dog made me sad.
It is a bad thing.
Something bad happens to the dog.
Oh yeah.
I'm too hurt to revisit it.
So I think we should start with what the blood thing, the drinking of blood.
Right.
How do you subsist off of blood? What causes
they're chupacabras.
Yeah. What did we decide with the chupacabras?
I don't remember.
I
think I was very drunk.
Yeah, I was a little bit inebriated at that point. I know I compared it to Scooby Doo. And that's the only part
I think
of that
it's that like they
ever.
couldn't eat solid things.
Oh,
for
yeah.
the chupacabra.
Yeah, that they had such an efficient system, like digestive system, that like they never did solid food.
But vampires used to be human.
Yeah.
They do have mouths.
They do have mouths.
So they did probably eat solid food first.
Yeah. So I mean, again, I'm just gonna throw it out there. And I know you're not a fan of it, but I am a fan of it.
Right.
They lack the ability to oxygenate their own blood, so they have to get their oxygen from
other people's blood.
Which actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm remembering back to Blade 1, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And they do kind of explain it where they're like, they essentially have like a sickle cell anemia, where they're like, they can't properly make blood cells. So they have to like steal the blood cells from other people.
Right. And then it gets absorbed through their tummy directly into their bloodstream.
Exactly. Just like that. Everyone knows your tummy goes straight to your bloodstream.
Is not super acidic and won't destroy everything that stumbles across it.
Yes. Well, I mean, one could believe that their fangs maybe are directly connected to their face capillaries, so they're not drinking it like a
They're
glass.
just rubbing their face on it.
Yeah, they just gotta stick to like it, kind of like human Capri Suns, where you stab, you puncture them, and then like old timey IVs where they were just like, here's a person, we're just gonna stab them, and then we're gonna stab you and connect you with the tube, and voila, you share blood. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think you need to drink blood. I think you could suck it through a straw into your face capillary.
Okay, so it's not like the consumption of blood isn't necessarily eating blood. That's just for the freaky vampires.
That's just for the freaky. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna get some blood in your mouth. Listen, it can be like, you know how you spill sometimes when you drink? That's what it is for a vampire. They're just spilling on themselves. Okay. They're just messy eaters. They've got drinking problems.
I feel like I want to lean away from not being able to oxygenate their own blood, because they would just need a constant drip of other people's blood if that was the case.
As a deoxygenated blood.
I kind of like just whatever's going on in that whole body of theirs that they have is degrading the red blood cells, or they're not able to make their own red blood cells for whatever reason.
Yeah, and that makes sense to me too, because I think it's 56 days is the regeneration time for blood cells. So it makes sense that they could last, as long as they got a whole person. It would be every month they would have to re-up, which is kind of in line with the normal feeding time of a vampire.
Yeah, depending on mythos and whatnot.
Yeah. So I think that's a pretty good place to start. And I'm wondering if we want to lump in all vampires are from the same world. They're just different versions of vampires.
I would say not necessarily do that, because there are some vampires that are just hey, I'm hungry, I need to top off, the old blood stores using this person. But there are other flavors of vampires, the World of Darkness vampires, use that blood to power the special powers that they have.
Yeah.
And their blood thickens up, so if they're alive for 200 years, they can't feed off of people anymore, and they have to feed off of other vampires instead.
Oh, that's great.
It gets complicated.
I remember this now. From the few times I played World of Darkness. I missed that character.
The few times that I ran that game of World of Darkness for you.
Yeah, it was
that
fun.
Went horribly bad because I did not research the time period even a little.
I feel like we were pretty. I mean, we were not terribly off.
No, probably not.
I think bloodletting was probably not as prevalent as we decided it was.
I think bloodletting was still pretty prevalent, and it was a Victorian Vamps game, is what I ran. I think bloodletting was still pretty prevalent then, no?
I don't know, maybe.
Who knows?
I feel I don't know. I wish people were smarter more recently to me, and I know they're not. So I also like this because it kind of means that let's start off with this, okay? In vampire lore, most of the time they need human blood.
Right.
In Twilight, they can drink both human blood and animal blood. Mm-hmm. And there's no real difference apart from their eye color when they do that.
Okay.
Because who knows?
That's fine. That makes perfect sense.
I wonder how close to a human you would have to get for your eye color to change. If you subsisted off of bonobo blood, are your eyes still golden in that book series?
What about pig blood? Pigs are close to human.
Yeah, how far away? Is it genus? Is it just what happens if you drink invertebrate blood? like snail blood or something.
Got them hoity-toity escargot vampires.
Yeah. Those French vampires. Uh, like, I feel like that's crazy. Like, and like, does it even need to be like? I guess obviously fungi don't have blood, but they have vascular system. So like, could you like suck the water out of those? I guess not. In our considerations, no, because they don't got hemoglobin.
Right. Yeah. So I think the vampire eating blood thing is to top off their own stores of blood that they can't do, and there's probably like some flavor nutrition floating around in there to like
some vitamins,
not
minerals,
die. Yeah, right. Those essential vitamins and minerals.
Like to not get scurvy. Yeah, it makes sense. I also feel like sucking, like the sucking action that they do with their mouth is more of like bring blood to the surface rather than like you're trying to suck hard enough to like break like if you're giving them a hickey and you're trying to like break capillaries to like make blood flow more easily. Yeah, but I'm wondering, do they need so here's the things, like, do they need specific human blood? Like do blood types play into it? And then do they need like specifically like mammalian blood? Can they do any vertebrate?
I feel like in the various different stories, like vertebrate blood was good enough.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. Because like the chupacabra, the chupacabra is like goat blood, like livestock blood. And not that the chupacabra is human. But I feel like that's not. I feel like part of it is that like the reason they go after humans is because they're like inherently evil.
What, vampires?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just like a thrill of the hunt kind of situation.
Like once death is.
I mean, if you're a vampire who's been around for a few hundred years, like you can just like own a dairy farm and be set. But you're going to be bored for a long time.
That's probably true. I like that idea. I also like the idea maybe it's like maybe it's like a change in behavior that's brought on by the vampire virus or vampire mutation or whatever we want to describe vampirism as a way of spreading it. Like I'm kind of thinking like the guinea worm, where it's like it drives you to water.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe that's
I like that too.
Like it's not zoonotic yet. It can't jump to other mammals, so it's just like go to what I can jump to. Go to humans. Go to people. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. That way, it's not like it kind of explains why so many vampires are going after people, and because I feel like at a certain point in time, I mean, I don't think your morality changes if you're like, I'm 200 years old. You've
eaten one human, you've eaten all humans, basically, is what you're saying.
Well, what I'm saying,
you can only get so bad.
Yeah, you could only get so wet. What I'm saying is, I feel like a person who lives for 200 years and owns a dairy farm, there's still things you can do. Like, this is something I always had.
Like learn how to use the internet.
Like learn how to use the internet. Like you could learn literally anything you want to. Like, oh, I am done. Like I've spent 100 years learning French. Great. Now I can spend 100 years learning German, and I can learn like everything there is to know about German. Or like I know guitar, but there's still like, I don't know, the melodica or the recorder.
I've always wanted to learn how to play the harmonium. It'll take 50 years for that.
Yeah, like you can become the best at everything. And to me, that sounds awesome. Like imagine because like time no longer has meaning to you. You're like, I am going to like paint an entire like Lord of the Rings miniature set. Like with accurate
I like
numbers.
the idea of like all these just benign normal people vampires who like just there aren't any books written about them because they're just like normal people just with weird dietary habits.
I think that that's completely fair. I think that there's probably like a large community of vampires that no one cares about because they're just like, they're not bothering anyone. They're just like living
you have
in
all the
farms in
vampires like doing politics and holding court, and then you have all the the voter apathy amongst their
Yeah.
the masses of vampires.
Yeah, it's New Hampshire. That's what they have. They just have New Hampshire. There's New Hampshire for vampires.
Uh-huh.
Not that New Hampshire has a lot of voter apathy, but when I think of like political apathy, I think of New Hampshire.
I mean, sure, I can't argue against it, I guess.
Well, they got like weird, like it's weird because they're like New England, which is very blue, but New Hampshire is very red, and it's just a lot of people who just don't want to be bothered, so they don't have like income tax.
Oh, that's where all your libertarian leanings come from, I guess.
Yeah, well, actually, the libertarian get together is in New Hampshire.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah, it actually
That's
is. Okay, I think we've solved a couple of things. So we know why they're drinking blood. We know why they're drinking primarily human blood, and like those that are like strong morals or like just are bored with it are just like, I'm just not gonna go for people. Like I can survive off of cows,
right?
Or probably pigs, because those are a little bit closer. Do we think that like blood type plays into it? Because like I can't inject.
Don't think it does.
So
because like they're not making their own blood to like reject other people's blood that's coming in.
So like,
and they're not like filling up 100%.
Well, because like I'm thinking like maybe they don't have like do we think vampires are like dead? Like, do you think that they've just like cut off the majority of their biologic function? Because that would kind of make sense. Like if they don't have an immune system, they have nothing to like reject other people's blood.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's just kind of the assumption I made now that you like directly call it out. Like,
oh, I'm sorry. I didn't directly call you out.
Well, no, it's not like you're calling me out. It's just like a concept that I just took as vampires are dead, but we like didn't discuss it. Like, yeah, I don't think they metabolize anything. I don't think they're like they have to respirate themselves. Like, I think they're just straight up dead in terms of how we define life today.
So they don't produce waste, and they can't replicate themselves.
Right, because it's the virus or whatever that passes between people through bites or what have you is what's doing it. But like the vampire themselves, they can't reproduce.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that makes okay, you say that. What about Dampiers? What about half humans? Okay, I see what you're saying, and I like this. Because so you know what Dampiers are?
No.
Okay, so they're half humans, half
Is this the Twilight thing?
This is not. Actually, Dampiers are actually they go older than that. I can tell you how old they go.
Please do.
So
this isn't a daywalker situation.
This is. Dampiers are daywalkers. They're considered vampires that have all of the strength, none of the weaknesses, except for the thirst. The word Dampier is associated with Balkan folklore, and it's not going to tell me where they come from. It's just going to say that they're from the Balkans.
The Balkans.
Yep, they're from the Balkans.
We got you in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Thanks, Wikipedia.
Shout out to another fandom I'm using right now, which is entirely vampire based.
Good.
Yeah, but they're like, I mean, it's like Grim Tales. It goes back to kind of that era of storytelling. But they have a male vampire father and a female human mother. And the idea, so you need to have, there is intercourse involved sometimes. So this is where it gets a little confusing. In the original story, Dampiers are vampires that still are married or are like the woman that they were attracted to in life. That's what creates the Dampier. In Blade, it's a Dampier is created when a pregnant woman is bitten by a vampire.
That one kind of makes sense, and that has like a barrier for the infection, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Like the infection, because the mother turns into a vampire, but the child just has like the vampiric cells, but doesn't have the actual virus, if that makes sense. Like the virus doesn't attach to the fetus, but because the fetus is still being fed and like kept alive by a different vampire, the like blood
Oh, well, then it'd
system and all
be.
that kind of.
Yeah, then that kind of gets into the other aspects of vampirism and, like, how different mythos handle, like, making vampire thralls, where, like, you feed a person vampire blood. So the Dampier could just be, like, a highly infused, like, thrall or something.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm thinking. And I think thralls in almost any vampire lore could exist if we just be like it's the like out competition of these like vampire blood cells. Out competition? That's not the word.
Out competing?
There you go.
Yeah.
It's the out competing of these vampire cells in the human body that creates these like thralls and stuff.
Well, and I think it would be kind of the other way, where, like, the person is still making their own blood, which, like, as the vampire blood, like, just dies and gets recycled, that's why you need to, like, upkeep your vampire thralls and keep feeding them vampire blood.
Yeah. And it's essentially like it just gives them the thirst. Like they're still a living human, but because of the like lack of like because they're not purely this like good blood, they're still like, you know what, I kinda got that I'm a little peckish.
You got that itch. Like,
Yeah.
you know, all the ways that the vampire blood helps them. Yeah, the old vampire blood itch. Well,
Sounds
it's
like
just
an
like they
STI.
get like it enhances them in different ways.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, after they crash, they need another fix, basically.
Yeah, very much so. Okay, cool. So like, I mean, I think we're doing a really good job, and so far we haven't like been specific to one lore.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the best way to kind of approach it, but it's also really hard not to like bring in all the preconceived notions of like one lore into the other, and like, okay, we have to completely disregard this lore because it unravels this very good explanation in a different lore.
Yeah, exactly. What about okay, let's just like let's break the mold, okay?
Oh god, we're going off script.
We're not going off script, but I want to be like
There's never
like
a script.
more specific. Yeah, there's no script. I have a few bullet points. That's how I write my episodes. So I'm looking at ways to kill them, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And running water seems to be the least consistent.
Yeah, running water, you're pulling in like more of the mystical kind of thing. So like, if the mythos you're building your vampires around don't fit within like, you know, the magical world, then the running water wouldn't do anything. So it makes sense that that's the least consistent to me.
Yeah, unless. So it seems to me, and I know you are resisting this idea that we should be like all vampires are just the same. But what if it's like a leftover trait? What if it's like a what's the word? Vestigial trait, where it's like it's afraid like of cleanliness, right? Like it. Does that make sense?
Like kinda. Like I kind of see what you're getting at. Like it's a similar behavioral change where like they
avoid something that would be destructive.
Like
to them.
they're driven to eat human blood because that helps spread the virus, and they're driven away from water because like the virus can't handle being in like straight water.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, like it's like hydrophobic.
Hydrophobic,
like yeah. Literally. So maybe that's something, and then like as the virus mutates through populations, it loses that fear, because it's not like a real fear. It isn't, or maybe at one point in time it was true of the virus, but once the virus gets over
back
it,
before pollution happened and our water was more pure than it is today.
Or
now we have all those microplastics, the vampire viruses can survive better.
Oh, by the way, apparently there was a person who argued at a town hall meeting that plastic bags degrade within like days, because if you leave them in the wind,
they bad plastic.
Go away.
I just put all my garbage in a truck, it goes away. I don't know what the problem is with all these landfills.
Yeah, seriously. Jeez. Anyway, but what I'm thinking is like it doesn't even have to be like that. I'm gonna say ridiculous. I'm thinking more like it forms like a lipid bilayer where it can survive within water.
Right. Yeah, just through like just the natural evolution of it.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Like that one doesn't have to be explained with science. That one is just science.
And so that's what I'm more like. That's why, like, now currently, like, running water isn't that, like, it's not a thing. Like, I feel like the modern vampire is the one that has the less mystical feeling behind it. But just like evolution, it doesn't mean it's completely gone, because there's still vampires who are like the original virus vampires.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. So do we just kind of want to go with the same thing? Like what makes garlic such an issue with them?
I think one of the common explanations I hear for
is Allison.
Like vampires who don't like garlic is they become allergic to it, right?
Yeah, because that's the same thing I've heard with silver. Is that it's like essentially that it's just like it's got some antibiotic properties and are therefore a bad thing for vampires.
Were vampires silver or werewolves silver?
Vampires are also silver.
I didn't think vampires were silver.
They are silver in specific lore. I think in D&D they're silver. I think in Blade they're silver.
D&D, anything magical is vulnerable to silver.
Yeah, well that's pretty common too, is the idea. And I think in Witcher they're also vulnerable to silver. It's pretty common that like silver is the like anti-magic thing. So anything that has
except
like,
for fairies, which is iron.
Yeah,
it's
but
much easier to come by.
Yeah. Oh boy, far easier to come by, and much easier to make weapons out of too. Much less soft.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the fairy iron thing is because fairies are allergic to like humanity and production and like advancement.
Yeah, I think that's the explanation given for them.
Yeah. So, but I like this idea. I like the fact that they're just allergic to garlic and silver. Here's a question. Crosses.
Right.
What? So this is a common older lore. Again, I feel like it's more like the mystical vampires. Is it in World of Darkness?
No, doesn't affect World of Darkness vampires.
So I like the I Am Legend explanation for this, which is like
they're all strict atheists.
All strict atheists. No, it's that like they're so like the vampires that are like really truly mutated and horrible. It depends on what they were in their living life. Yeah. So like it's more like an aversion, because they still have like some idea of like this is my representation.
Yeah, they still have
of morality.
those old moral ties. So it's like I am now a reprehensible monster, and I can't face my old like religious iconography.
Yeah, and it's explained like there's a man he knows was Jewish, so the cross doesn't really do anything to him. But a Star of David he's afraid of that. Like he retreats from that, which I feel like
that makes me sad. Like they're just real sad. Like, hey, you remember this Jesus thing? You're like, oh yeah, I do. I feel bad about my life now. Thanks, bud.
I mean, I Am Legend, the book is real. It's real sad. It's not sad in the same way the movie is. The movie is like very much like Hollywood. Oh, this is how we like tug on people's heartstrings. Like the deeper themes in I Am Legend, the book, is that essentially the man living in the house, it becomes like the devil to the vampire community.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we're just gonna drop the spoiler,
I mean, it's not like a huge spoiler, because I guess it is.
I mean, really. That's the last line of the book.
Is it?
It's one of them, because that's when he realizes. Because like when
we're not
people were predominant, vampires were the legend, and now that vampires are predominant, like it's that one guy who goes out in the day and kills us when we're sleeping becomes the legend.
Well, I feel like that's more of a spoiler than what I said.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
You're not wrong.
Maybe you'll put a spoiler
I
alert
took
on this.
your like oblique reference to the spoiler as an invitation to just drop the full spoiler.
Okay, I'll have to put a spoiler warning on this. Fine. It's a good book.
For anyone who hasn't read I Am Legend yet, it is a really good book. I highly recommend it.
It is. And also, the short stories that come with it are also pretty good. So then, what do we think? Like, Sunlight, do we think the same thing? Like, it's just allergic. Like, it just can't handle, like, the photocatalysis. It breaks down in sunlight like most viruses do. But, like, why is it...
Well, and that's... Yeah, the difference is...
It's in a person.
Yeah, it's in a person, and in most of the mythos, like, the vampire does turn into ashes afterwards.
Yeah.
So I think it would have to be, like, some physiological change to the person. Like, it can't... Like, it's just sensitive to sunlight, like, sensitive to UV rays or something.
Yeah, like an issue with, like, melanin. Like, maybe there's, like, God, my computer keeps going to sleep. Maybe there's, like a change to melanin in the body that makes it a toxin once it photocatalyzes. So, like, there's, like, two chemical reactions that occur. Like, one that, like, turns melanin into this new compound, and then when sunlight hits it, it turns it into this, like, destructive compound. It's, like, corrosive to people. That makes sense, right?
Well, I'm thinking, I do like that. It does make sense. I'm thinking with, like, turning people into ashes, though. Like, could it just be, like, some horribly energetic, like, exothermic reaction that happens?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. Like, you're cooking from the inside. Because whatever this compound is, it's just, like, it's just shattering. It's just such a weak compound. Right. Okay, yeah. I like that. I also like the idea that I think the virus changes a lot of the molecular composition of your body. Because that's, like, why, to address other things about vampires, they're indestructible, they're really strong. In Twilight, they sparkle. That doesn't have to be a thing, but maybe it is.
I don't know if I've met any vampires. It could be.
Yeah. So maybe that's, like, what it is. Like it's physically changing your body chemistry to, like, make the compounds that make up your muscles stronger. You know, make the compounds that make up your skin stronger. But now it also has this byproduct where it's like, now you're vulnerable to sunlight because even though it's stronger, it's more chemically reactive. I like that.
Yeah, that works.
I don't know if you like that. So
I do like that one. Yeah.
So here's the thing. What about the stake to the heart? And this is a stake, like a wooden stake, like a big old piece of wood, not a stake like the thing you eat. Okay, I'm just making sure. I know you sometimes get confused with words that sound the same but are different.
Right. So why does putting a stake on top of someone's chest and eating it later kill a vampire? Yeah.
That's actually a plot point in Bunnicula, but which we are not including in this list.
Oh, man. A real shame.
Is there a person in the world who hasn't read Bunnicula? Because it is...
I don't know.
So good.
It's real good.
Anyway, what is it about the stake to the heart? Because like, they don't need it. Like, I'm assuming their heart's no longer beating.
Yeah, I also have run under the assumption that their hearts no longer beat. I don't even know where to begin with, like, an actual explanation and not like a mystical kind of explanation for it, because, like, aside from getting stabbed in the chest, like, it's not doing anything special, really, right?
No. I mean, like, I feel like, and it's not like a specific kind of wood. Like, it doesn't matter if you use cedar.
There's gotta be wood.
Yeah, plywood. Could be anything.
But, like, other things don't work. Like, you can stab a vampire in the chest with rebar. Yeah. And that doesn't do anything.
That doesn't do anything. That's the kind of thing I was thinking. I was like, what if it's like just like psychological shock that kills them? Because they're like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Like, it's like ego death rather than real death.
Like, just their...
But, like, why would that be
it's like a crazy placebo effect where they all think that if they get stabbed in the chest with wood, they die. Yeah. So when they finally do, they just, like, go into shock and then die.
Yeah, exactly. Not only do I think that that's a bad explanation, but I also don't know why it would only be wood. Like, again, like you were saying, like glass doesn't do anything. Like,
Right.
rebar.
Well, and it's because they're convinced that it's only wood. So if they are stabbed with wood, they freak out and die.
That feels so bad, though.
Yeah, because it is bad. I'm not saying it's a good explanation.
What about like if we did like I don't know, what's properties of wood that's different? Maybe it's
floats.
What else floats? Churches, very
Ducks.
small rocks, ducks. Cherries.
Man. I'm glad we could work that in.
I do not have an explanation for stake to the heart.
No.
What if it's like this? Because there are elements like Grimm Brother tales, I believe, have that you have to stake them in the heart while they're still in their coffin. So maybe it's like maybe the stake to the heart isn't the thing. Maybe what it is what you're doing is you're nailing them to their coffin. And the rest of it is just like folklore. So like they die, because they can't feed.
I feel like my issue with that is just because like that's so different in the different mythos. Like, because in World of Darkness, they like as soon as a vampire gets staked, they like are fully paralyzed and can't do anything. And as soon as that stake gets pulled out, they're like, "Man, that sucked. I don't want to do that again."
But I like that. I like the idea that it doesn't kill them, but it paralyzes them. For some reason, that makes more sense to me.
I like that also, but I don't have any explanation as to why. Like,
but what if?
Unless it's like if their heart is actually because
I feel like
then
that's
other
it's
things
like a blockage.
Then wood would work.
And I think we should abandon the wood thing. I think that's stupid, and I think that's just like. It's more
the one part that's actually consistent.
Yeah, kind of. Well, so here's the thing. I think that wood was chosen because it's more common than say like steel or iron in this time period, right?
Okay.
And so they were just like, oh, it's gotta be wood. Wood's the only thing that works. Maybe. So
the assumption is that other things work and we just haven't tested it yet?
Or that it's just not widely known. Like, it's known in, like, the deep vampire hunting community. I don't know, what else? Like, what do you got?
I don't have anything other than...
Jeff?
Vampires know that getting stabbed in the heart with wood will kill them. Whether or not it actually does, they're convinced that it does, so it will.
What if it's, like, a grain thing? What if it's, like, a splinter thing?
Well, I mean, that's all... a wooden stake is just a big splinter.
Yeah, but what I mean if like
if their heart gets little splinters in it, they can't get it out again.
Ooh, I have an idea.
Okay. Is it better than my dumb one that I just gave? I sure hope so.
I think so. Because that's what I was going to go with, and then you said it and it sounded stupid to me, so I wasn't going to say it, so I didn't sound stupid.
Yeah, no, I've been sitting on that for about 10 minutes until you brought it up.
Okay, so what if what it is that the reason it needs wood is it needs something else that's living, something else that has cells, and so that the virus, what it does is it goes into the wood.
Just, oh, look at all this free real estate. Oh, there's nothing to work with here.
Yeah, and then it just like moves into the wood, and so that's what it's doing. It starts to like put all of its resources into turning the wood into a vampire. It can't do that, and essentially what the wooden stake is doing is like causing the immune response of the vampire virus, or kind of, to like
however
overload.
the virus affects it, and it like overloads the system.
Yeah.
So they can't do anything else.
Yeah, and like it burns through all of their reserves of energy and materials and things like that, as it just like throws everything it has at this new object. Because I say this also because I think like other things that might be able to work are like bone, or like if you were able to like freeze a steak, like a meat steak, and stab them with it. But those are like more difficult to come by, I feel like.
Yeah, probably.
But not as like completely uncommon and untested as like iron.
Yeah, I can lean towards that a little bit because it leaves us a little bit of room to like explain in some mythos it just straight kills the vampire, and in other mythos it doesn't kill them.
Yeah. Maybe those are like more
So-
controlled viruses that are not like, oh, we need to throw everything we have. But
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what about the hollow ground thing?
Where vampires have to sleep in
Essentially
the
in
ground that they were
coffins.
buried in.
Yeah.
I think that's also very specific because I don't know if I've read that in other books really.
I think
Dracula.
I think the idea that they have to sleep inside of either their coffin or a coffin or in the hollowed ground that they were buried in is pretty common. Because I'm thinking like what we do in the
coffin
shadows
thing,
has that.
yes, but
Nosferatu
like
has that.
the actual like you need your own grave dirt. I don't think that's widespread.
But maybe
I think they're
like,
just comfy.
Maybe it's just it's true. They are.
Have you ever slept in a coffin before?
I have not. That would scare me. I not only do I not enjoy dead bodies and the idea of death.
Well, you don't have to be a dead body to do it, Simon.
But it would be too close to one, and that's what would freak me out. I also don't like the idea of being buried alive. That terrifies me. So I feel like a coffin is the least good place for me. Yeah.
I feel like a coffin. I move around a lot when I sleep. It'd probably just be uncomfortable that way.
You just like wake up and be covered in bruises and be buried underground.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't necessarily have to be buried underground to sleep in a coffin. I can do that above
But
ground.
I'm saying is that someone mistakes you and goes, "Oh, this person's dead."
I mean, if someone starts like picking up my coffin, I'm probably gonna wake up. Like I don't sleep deep. I just move around a lot in it.
Okay, I'm just saying. Feel like it's you're testing the fates there, man.
You're not wrong, but I'm just saying, if anyone has access to an otherwise unused coffin, let me know. I'll try it out. I'll let you know if it's good.
Yeah, if it's going to be comfortable for your dead person.
Yeah.
So I think we should lump the hollowed ground thing and the coffins in together.
Yeah, I feel like they would have to be lumped in.
Your burial place, like kind of like the hollow ground is maybe from like an era when we didn't use coffins or coffins weren't as robust because they didn't have wood treatment.
Okay.
And so like, and now it's like a coffin because that's like what we bury people in. So again, it's like a mystical thing, but like why?
Yeah, I don't know why that would be a thing.
I don't know why that would be a thing. Maybe I was going to say. So
I'm just stuck up on it being a comfort thing. Like,
like you think it's soft earth?
Well, it might not even be like softer earth, but like, I mean, if you've been dead and living in a place for like 400 years and like you like move to London, you're gonna want like a little something from home still, so you don't get too homesick.
No, that makes... I like that. That makes sense. What I'm thinking is...
You're just real sentimental when you're alive for that long.
Well, so here's what I think it is. I think that this comes from a time where, someone gets bitten by a vampire. They look dead because their heart stopped beating, they're cold. Other things that dead people have. I don't know. They stop moving.
Oh, so it's like a camouflage. Like, if I am sleeping in a bed and I look like I'm dead, they're going to bury me. But if I'm in a coffin, they're going to assume that I'm dead. On the schedule to be buried already, and they won't bother me.
No, but I kind of like that. I was thinking more like the virus takes hold after you've been buried. Normally, in these cases, like where you have to really quickly bury someone because you don't have like formaldehyde or preservatives. So it's like that person died yesterday. Let's bury them, tomorrow.
Before they start stinking up the place.
Exactly. So like maybe it's like a womb thing where like it comforts them. Like they're where they started. Like they're where they feel safest.
Yeah, I can get behind that too.
But I do like the idea
it's
that
just like they get sentimental.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a sentimental virus.
Doesn't have to be a weird science thing. They just like to be comfy.
Well, I could say it's a sedimental thing because they're buried. And
you could say that, Simon.
It's like sediments.
I can't physically stop you from saying that, no matter how much I wish I could.
I actually already made that joke yesterday to no one.
Oh, this was a prepped joke. You've already done this bit.
I've already. I. This is no joke. I did that bit yesterday when I was leaving for work, and I was the only one in my house, and I laughed at it, and I was like,
"This is joke. This is the one that I need."
This joke will come up later on in my life. Like, yeah, huh? Cool. I think we did a whole bunch of stuff. I think we've explained a lot about vampires. We covered
a lot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, without getting into any, like, too super specifics.
Yeah.
I think we covered a lot of the broad vampire strokes.
Yeah, and I think we've explained that all vampires exist, but there's different flavors of vampire. Yeah, I was going to add some to that. What I would like to add is that I am going to add this because I feel like it's crazy. Blade is in the Marvel universe. Like, he meets like the Hulk and like Captain America and Iron Man and all that stuff. Never once in those other stories do they bring up vampires. Like, you feel like if there's, like, an evil organization of, like, immortal beings, so one of the heroes is going to be like, maybe we should help him out with that. But no, they're like, Blade's got it. He's doing fine. Look at him go.
Well, it's like, that's just crazy. Like, Justice League Dark equivalent, where all the Marvel heroes are like, we got all of this stuff that's going on. We don't know what Blade's dealing with. We don't want to know what Blade's dealing with. It is out of our league.
Yeah, maybe. I just feel like it's a cop-out. I feel like Stan Lee. Beyond the Grave.
Stanley Lee.
Stanley Lee. And Jack Kirby, both of them are dead, but I'm looking at you, and I'm wondering...
The listener or me?
No, obviously, the two people I just mentioned, Jack Kirby and
Stanley Lee. Okay, yes.
And I'm wondering, why?
You had this perfect vampire plot that you could have delved into with everything.
You could have...
You dropped the ball.
You could have made all of your comments way more overly complicated. Cool. I think that's good enough, right? That's an hour of material, hour of content. Thanks for listening,
listeners. We had a good time with you.
Yeah. You can see us on our website at it's pedantichandwavium.com or pedantichw.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can send us show suggestions on that website.
Yep, there's a big email button. You can hit that.
Big old email button and do that. I mean, this wasn't a suggestion, but we've done them before and they're fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's always interesting to see. I have to learn new things.
New things that neither of us know anything about because we are bad at pop culture.
Yeah, well, I like, it's not even pop culture. Like, sometimes, like, that Beyblade episode, I'm still like, we could do it, but it's so tough.
There's nothing there.
It's
right?
It's an entire
show. It's
show.
Just tops.
No, there's an entire show based around the lore.
Oh, no, I know that, but, like, you're just spinning fighting tops at each other. They're also a thing that does exist.
It's true. That's true. They do literally exist. Anyway, so there's that. We've done a lot of those stuff. You can talk to us on Twitter at Handwavium on Twitter. You should like and subscribe to us on whatever podcasting app you're using. You can leave comments. You'd be like, hey, this is a good podcast. Hey, this is a bad podcast. Hey, I'm sad and lonely and I just need someone to talk to. And, you know.
As long as we get that engagement, that's the important part.
We just want that engagement. And we want engagement from community that's not the Flat Earth community because they don't seem to like us very much.
Yeah, for some reason, we kind of antagonize them.
Yeah, it's weird.
As far as they're concerned.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, well, who's to say?
I think we try to be generally pretty nice about it in the podcast, but then they started dunking on us, so we dunked on them back real hard.
Yeah, real hard. It was like that scene from Looney Tunes. Not Looney Tunes, Space Jam,
which is basically Looney Tunes.
But I mean specifically it's the scene where Michael Jordan dunks.
Right.
Yeah, that's how hard we dunked on him. That's exactly what we did. We dunked on him like MJ. What is there anything else? Oh, thanks to Joe Sopchak for the music. Is there anything
Yeah.
else we got to do? That's like our closer.
I
did
think
it this time.
you wanted to do words of wisdom. Check on your local vampire friends. See how they're doing. See if they need any, like, I don't know, soup or something in these trying COVID times.
They probably don't need soup.
Well, it's just a different kind of soup than you're used to.
Well, I'm not gonna. I don't think that we should have people offer up their. I think it's wrong.
Hey, as long as there's consent.
Okay, sure, but also, I mean, if I'm like, I feel like if I'm like a good vampire and like I want to drink human blood, it's like being an alcoholic. Like, I don't want someone to like offer me alcohol, even if it's like, oh, there's consent between two of us. Yeah, sure, but also you don't enable. That's what I'm saying. Don't enable your vampire friends. Like, support them, but don't enable them.
Yeah, support your vampire friends.
Yeah. Exactly. You find that crazy man or that old person or that young probably looking person. You know, who knows? Who lives alone and doesn't talk to anyone and seems to lose a lot of livestock.
And only comes out at night for some reason.
Yeah, and just talk to him. Wears a lot of sunblock.
Right. Yeah. So I think, is that it?
I think.
We do it?
Yeah, I think that's our words of wisdom. I think our words of wisdom is that help people out. Be good to vampires.
Yeah.
Not all are bad. They, maybe don't believe what the media sells you. You know.
Right. All right. And with that, good night, listeners. We love you. We'll see you in another couple of weeks, assuming I don't die of COVID again.
Yep. Ooh, very spooky.
I mean, this is going to be our Halloween episode, I guess. Yeah. And just the Halloween episode in which I announced that I died and I'm still recording.